Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the principal's office. I am Jamal Maxim, an igniter of champion leaders. I help aspiring leaders make the shift out of the classroom and accept the call to leadership. And so I'm just going to adjust my camera because, yes, this is live. And so we are here today and we are talking about how to let go of the familiar and letting go of the familiar. You know that when you are leading, it's easy to get into a place of familiarity with the people you're leading, as well as with the systems and the processes that you have in place, and where you are thinking things are good. We just have to keep going in this same direction and things that continue to get better. But how many of you know that there are times when you have to shift and you have to adjust in order to ensure things get better? And shifting and adjusting causes you to have to leave the familiar and tap into the unfamiliar and embrace the unknown. And so before we dig deep into how to do that, I just want to give you one action. I want you to comment, I want you to like, and I want you to share this video with anyone who you know who is in leadership, is new to leadership, or aspires to be in leadership. All right, so let's dig into it. So today we're talking about letting go of the familiar. All right, so what do I mean by familiar? Let's define it first. So the familiar is the thing that we are used to. The dictionary says it is something that is commonly or generally known or seen. It is something that we commonly know, that we generally know, that something that's commonly seen, something that we are acquainted with or know about. And so that is how we define the familiar. And so we have to get to the place where we understand what is commonly known is no longer good enough. And so let's go to the next one. So you can go to a new or a different place and it can seem familiar to you. Why? Because you can be reminded of something you have seen, you have heard, or have experienced before. So it can seem familiar. And so as we are going along and thinking, even if we embrace new strategies, even if we embrace new processes and procedures, it can still seem familiar because it can remind us or trigger our memory to something we've done before, something that we've heard of before, something that's common, something that is easily seen. And so what I want to challenge you is this, that the familiar can be things that are good as well as things that are negative that we have grown accustomed to. Meaning this, that you can operate from a place of familiarity because you've gotten used to the people you're leading, or you've gotten used to how you're doing things in your school or in your building, or you've gotten used to even how you lead. Now, it's one thing to be authentic. It's another thing to operate from this place of familiarity where you just stay in a certain place. Because remember, everything grows, everything continues to move, and everything should be evolving or unfolding. And so as you are growing as a leader, recognize that the people you're leading, are growing. And so they would no longer be familiar to you because you both are operating from different spaces, which also means how you do things has to adjust to the new space that the people you're leading are in, the new space that you're in as a leader, as well as the new space that the people are in that you're serving, which are the students. And so you want to make sure that you put yourself or posture yourself to let go of what seems familiar, because sometimes, like I just said, the familiar can be good things or they can be negative things. There are some people who get used to something that's not working or something that's not functioning correctly, and when they get into something that does operate differently or better, they're uncomfortable because they're not used to this new thing, or they've gotten accustomed or used to the old thing. That's how sometimes people can experience trauma and come out of that traumatic event, but then get back into a different experience that has the same type of trauma. Why? Because it was familiar. They got used to it. And so I want to tell you this, that what you've done in the past and what has got you up to this point may have been good. It may have been great, but it might not get you to where you want to go. You have to make adjustments to go further. You have to make adjustments to go further because you can't expect to get different results from doing the same thing over and over. Now, there's one thing, this is different than being consistent because there are things that you have to do and you have to keep them consistent and continue to do them consistently. But what I'm talking about is when you have to really let go of something or adjust something in order to go to that next level, in order to take your school that you're leading to the next level and get those higher results, those different results and those better results that you're looking for. You can't keep the same systems in place and say they're working but then expect to go somewhere else with it. Okay. And so I want you to hear that soberly, because I'm not saying change everything, but I'm also not saying there's a fine line between embracing the unfamiliar and consistency, because you want to be consistent, but you want to have this mindset and this perspective of tapping into the unfamiliar, because sometimes the people around you can't see what you see. They don't see what you see. They don't have your perspective. They might not have your understand your thought processes, and you can't allow their inability to see what you see hinder you from taking them to that next place. As the leader, your job is to see things that others don't see. But it is also your job to communicate the vision or communicate what you see to them so that they can see it and to help them get it and understand it and embrace it. But if you are afraid to embrace the unfamiliar, then it'll be challenging to help the people you are leading embrace something that's not familiar. And so they might not see what you see. And in order to go somewhere you haven't been, you may have to leave what is commonly seen, meaning you may have to leave what you already see. You may have to abandon what you already know or how you apply what you know. And so you may have to do that. And it may be challenging because people may be challenging you in your perspective and in your thought process. And so let me tell you this right here. How do we embrace the new and the unfamiliar? Because right now in our schools, things are new and we have to embrace the unfamiliar, and we can't try to force, and I've seen schools do this, they try to force what used to be and what really wasn't working before into this new place we are in education, which is not working. You can't try to force something old into the new. So you have to really embrace something new and innovate. So how do we do that? So let's do that. Because a lot of people will ask, well, how do we do that? And you will hear this statement a lot. Keep an open mind, as people would say. People always tell you to keep an open mind. And so they say, well, if you keep an open mind, then you can embrace the new, you can let go of the familiar. You have to be open. You have to be open. Yeah, but what does that really mean? What does it really mean to keep an open mind and to be open to something new? All right, so I'm going to give you 3 things that can help you keep an open mind and keep your perspective heightened to embrace the new, and then you can communicate it to someone else. Okay, are you ready? Here they are. The first one, you want to listen without formulating an opinion. So as you are hearing something and as someone is talking to you, as you are getting new information, as you are in that training, listening to that podcast, however is coming, you want to listen without formulating an opinion. Because a part of the learning process, our brains are automatically going to process new information to see how it assimilates with old information. And so while your brain is doing that, it's easy for you to make an opinion before you fully have heard something. And so it's easy to say, oh no, that doesn't apply, or that doesn't work, or that's not going to work. Have you ever been in a meeting and casted vision and say, hey, this is what we need to do, here's this idea, and you immediately had teachers or even supervisors or district personnel say, that's not going to work, it won't fit, nope. Well, it's because they're trying to process what they're hearing with what they already know, and they're seeing sensing a disconnect in their brain, and so they make an opinion because of the disconnect. And so again, you want to listen without forming an opinion. Yes, your brain may have there may be a disconnect between the new information and the old information, but don't make an opinion. Just listen. You don't have to agree, but you have to listen and just gather the information. Now, the second thing is this: you want to take time to process the new information. After you have gathered that new information, now you have to take the time to process it. Now you want to think about it. You want to see, how does this information fit with what I already know, and how did this information fit not just with what I already know, but where I am going. That is the key. One of the things I always ask myself, and you guys know I'm a personal prayer, so I pray this prayer. I ask, what is being required of me in light of what I now know? When I hear good information or bad information, it's good to have that reflection, that thought as a point of focus to figure out, okay, how does what I'm hearing take me to where, how does that impact where I want to go? How does that relate to where I am now? And then as you're processing that information, you have to let it marinate or let it sit, meaning you process it, and you can't try to sit there in a tense way and try to figure it out in that moment. You've gathered it, you've taken time to process, and now you've let it sit. Because often when you're trying to really figure something out, sometimes that effort that you're putting in could actually block you from actually seeing the connections. So you might have to let it sit, meaning take a break from it for a moment so you can see the connection. So those are three things that you can do to stay open, and so that you can be open to embrace change and embrace the unfamiliar. And you have to just do it with courage. You might not feel comfortable, but it doesn't mean it's not the right thing to do. Your level of comfort should not be the measuring stick that you use in terms of what you should do, if it's the right action or if you are going in the right direction. Comfort doesn't mean anything in terms of direction. Okay? And so, with that in mind, I'm going to end for this session of the principal's office. I am so glad that you were here to join me. Now, if you need help with that, feel free to connect with me. You can go to jamalmaxim.org/strategy session, get a one-on-one session with me, and I can talk you through how to embrace this new thing, embrace something new, or even how to create an action plan to get your team on board with something new that you're implementing. Because remember, they always say that culture trumps strategy, but I believe this: you have to build a culture, and you have to have a strategy in place that sustains that culture, and then you can implement the other strategies that you want to implement. Now, I want to invite you to two other opportunities to really get some information and really work with me. Two other opportunities to grow. Now, here's the first one. There's a challenge. Now, this video is being filmed on Wednesday, February 9th of 2022. So I want to say that for anyone watching the replay. Now, the first opportunity to work with me or to get more information, it will occur the week of February 21st through the 25th. There is a free 5-day challenge called the EDU Igniters Challenge. Now, in this challenge, we are going to talk about the DNA of an igniter, what you should be igniting to in your schools, as well as some of the challenges that come with igniting and how you overcome those challenges, like complacency, hopelessness, and other challenges that we'll identify. And then by the end of the challenge, we're going to make an ignition playbook, which will be your guide of planned and that you will ignite you to register for the challenge at jamalmaxim.org/edu igniters and be a part of this 5-day challenge that starts Monday, February 21st. I'll be teaching live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going to get it going and make sure that you are ready. Now, also that same week is one more opportunity to work with me and to ignite change in education, and it is for all of you who are specifically using your skill set in the terms of a education business or you're an edupreneur. Now, that Saturday, to close out the challenge, there is a guided strategy session where we're going to be talking about how to create a marketing stack. If you don't know what a marketing stack is, you're going to learn in this challenge, but I'll just give you a quick definition. It's when you take several marketing tactics and put them together in order to ensure the people you are reaching have an experience or are led to the experience that you are planning to serve them. And so this is a guided session. It is not streamed live. We'll be working through Microsoft Teams in a private, intimate session. So you want to also register for that. So when you register for the challenge, there's a button that will come up and ask you if you're interested in the Dream Igniters session. You can click yes, or you can go directly to jamalmaxim.org/dreamigniters. Now, this session is you can participate for only $45, which is minimal. It's less than a tank of gas, but it will help you learn how to market your side business or your education-based business. All right, so those are the two opportunities that I have coming up where you can learn, share, and grow more. One of them is very private and intimate, the Dream Igniters strategy session. So you want to register for that so you can be a part of it. The other one is the 5-day challenge. You want to register for that. Even though it will be streamed, it'll be streamed in select spots on social media, so that you can ignite change in your school and in your district. All right, so that's it for this week. I want you to be successful, lead like a champion, and I will see those of you who are on Clubhouse, I will see you in approximately 20 minutes for the live interactive Q&A about how to embrace change and let go of the familiar. All right, see you then. Bye-bye.